What's up, expats and travelers alike? I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere, and welcome back to this series where we talk about buying property abroad. Now, we're in Porto, Portugal, and my wife and I are looking for a property. In the last episode, which you guys can catch, we're gonna put a playlist link in the description section below so you guys can get caught up properly. Let me get you caught up in a few seconds. So I met with Anna from Savvy Cat, and she talked to me about my real estate options here in Portugal and how her team can help. She asked me several questions, so if you guys want to get caught up to speed on that, check the link in the description section below, and let's talk about what happened this week. At the end of my call with Anna, I essentially had a task, and my task was to figure out how many people were gonna be a part of this vertical community. Now, I know I haven't really described what a vertical community is, so if you're unfamiliar, it essentially means that we're gonna have multiple people that are going in together to purchase a building so that we kind of know each other as neighbors and that we're able to live in that building and just renovate the building together. A vertical community doesn't have to be all like hippy-dippy. What it can really mean is people that want to live in the same building as one another and know each other, so they become a community. It's something that's been going on for years and years. Sometimes it happens more organically, but this one is definitely happening more by design. So Anna tasked me to figure out how many people would be living in this property. So what did I do? I went on YouTube and I went into the community tab section where I put in a poll, and I asked our audience to see how many people were interested in doing a vertical community. Now, those people that said that they were interested, I asked them to email me. So most of the people that said that they were interested ended up emailing me, and they titled their email vertical community so I could tag it and I could know, okay, that's what this is about. Now at that point, I created a pretty long email with different questions to them. And one of the key things that I wanted to figure out was a rating from 0 to 10, meaning 0, I'm no longer interested in this project, to 10, I'm in, I'm definitely interested, let's go. I wanted to see how many people would mark 10. The zeros, I'm okay with. I'm okay with rejection, no problem. But I needed to see how many people were truly interested still in the project, and then that way I could tell Anna and her team how many units we were looking for. Out of that poll, we came back with 3 people that were 10 out of 10 once we closed the poll, once I got all the emails sent out, and that was a good thing. So that means that we need 4 units. Now, there are other people who are interested at varying degrees, between 9 and 5. And I have continued to email those people, and anybody who is still interested within that group and getting emails regardless of their number, I'm gonna keep them on the email list just so they can kind of stay in touch with what's going on and maybe learn from this process, maybe learn from my mistakes and the challenges that we have along the way, because I know we're gonna have challenges. So I sent the results over to Anna, and I let her know that now we're looking for 4 units. Another important thing is I needed to figure out what the minimums were people needed. So I asked them that question. I asked them what size of an apartment are they looking for, and then also how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what some of the key desires were in the apartment. And to be honest with you guys, all of the things people were looking for pretty much matched up. You know, people were looking for a place that has good insulation, good soundproofing so you're not hearing your neighbors walking on the floors. People want a building with a bit of charm. People want good natural lighting. No one's too keen on having too many stairs, so that might mean that we need to figure out how to get an elevator in a building or buy a building that already has an elevator. That sounds like it could be a challenge, but I think we're up for it. The other thing is, several people were very interested in the communal space. So they were looking for a space that kind of had a communal garden. Not everyone needed a balcony, but a balcony would be a plus. I mean, I think that kind of goes without saying. When you're living in Porto or any of these European cities that have just these charming balconies, you want to have one as well, and you want to be out there to enjoy your morning coffee or have that sunset glass of wine. So I went ahead and I got all of that information. I handed that over to Anna as well. Well, why is that important? Really because we need to know how many square meters we need the property to be, right? We don't want to buy something that's going to be 8, 10 units big, because we're not going to be able to finance that. For one, we don't have enough money to fund that type of project. But two, we're not in the business of doing real estate development, really. I mean, we're kind of straddling that line with this project, but we don't really care to have to develop the property and then end up selling off those individual units. Look, if we find a great property that's gonna fit 5 or 6 different units, I think within our pool that we already have of people that are interested between the 9 and 6 range to choose or to pitch, hey, we've got this apartment, it's X number of square meters, it's gonna cost this much, now are you interested? Because one of the objections I saw with several people that weren't hired is they just wanted more concrete plans. And to be honest, we're right at the ground level. We don't have a plan, we're creating the plan right now. And I've got 3 other people that are willing to ride with me and figure out what the plans are as we go along. So that's great. Again, I turned this information over to Anna, and then I just kind of had to wait a little bit because Anna wanted me to get on the phone with her local real estate consultant, so this guy that's based here in Porto, and then also she has a guy that she keeps on retainer for legal work. So he doesn't work within the company, but he works with the company, and she goes to him for legal advice. So when she sent me the meeting invite, I realized, oh no, I'm gonna be actually out of the apartment, so I'm not gonna be able to film anything. I'm just gonna be on my phone. So I didn't get any footage of that for you guys. However, what I can tell you was the meeting went well. It actually went a bit longer than I had suspected, but it was good because the lawyer was able to pinpoint some of the challenges that we would have and really pose a ton of questions to me that now I have to go and figure out with the other 3 investors. Now, at the time, I hadn't remembered how many cash buyers we had. So I thought that everybody was gonna be financing the project, but there's actually gonna be a couple cash buyers. So we'll come back to that later because that's actually really important. So after talking out some of the details and the buying process with Anna's lawyer, what I realized is it's gonna be an absolute mess. It is gonna easily be the biggest challenge that we have. And I'm a little scared of it. I'm not so scared of it that I'm just gonna shut this down, but it's gonna be way, way challenging. Essentially, what he believes is that we're only gonna be able to get financing on either the building or the renovations. We're not gonna be able to finance both of them. And the reason for that is because they have this kind of vertical and horizontal thing with buildings. So if we buy the building, we're actually buying the building vertically, meaning that we're buying the whole thing, and then we need to divide it horizontally. And once we divide it horizontally, then it becomes this kind of different deal. And the bank is probably not gonna recognize that. So he recommends that as a group, we buy the building, and depending on the price, we finance that, or we buy it with cash, and then we go seek money for renovations if we've bought it with cash. And then the opposite, if we need to finance the building, then we're gonna have to use our own cash for renovations. I had kind of told everybody that if they needed to finance the building, that they were gonna be able to finance the building. Based on my knowledge, we would be able to do a purchase and renovations in one loan. But it sounds like that's not gonna be possible with how this works. As an individual, you can do that. But now we're talking about multiple partners and 25% ownership. It seems like it's gonna be a mess. So I need to get a second opinion from a different lawyer, which I'm gonna do hopefully in next week's episode. I'll have some clarity on that. If not, then it'll maybe go to the following one. And then I'm gonna talk to my mortgage guy again. I'm gonna talk to Rafael. We did an interview with him. I'll put that link in the description section below. So if you wanna know how to mortgage a property here in Portugal, I'll get you that link so you all can see that. Yeah, this is gonna be challenging. So I definitely need different opinions because maybe there's a solution out there that hasn't been thought of with Anna's team. But they were great today in explaining the process. I mean, it seems pretty clear and it seems like this is gonna be really challenging. Now, on to meeting Nuno. Nuno is the real estate consultant that Anna uses here in Porto. He's a guy from Porto, so he's a tripeiro. He's a local Porto guy that grew up pretty near the area that we want to buy. So he's got family that is kind of in that area. So he knows the neighborhood of Bonfim really well. When we first started dialogue, he didn't really have a great idea of what we were looking for. So what I knew we needed to do is I knew that we needed to go out and see the exact neighborhood, the exact street that we're targeting. Because there's this one street in Bonfim that for me and Kalie is like the best. It is such a charming street. It's tree lined, it's wide, it's got nice sidewalks. The facades of the buildings are wonderful. Even though it's kind of a busy street, it's relatively quiet. I mean, it's busy for the neighborhood, but it's relatively quiet. It's within close walking distance to one of the metros, and then it also, ends up passing another one of the metros that's further out, heading towards the next real neighborhood, which is Campagnat. So based on the search criteria that Anna had given him after our first conversation and me turning over some information via email, Nuno actually put together 10 properties that he wanted us to take a look at. So after the meeting happened, I got home, I opened up the spreadsheet, and to be honest, none of them really worked. So what I knew needed to happen next is I needed to meet Nuno on the street and check out the neighborhood. So that's what I'm gonna do in the next episode. We're gonna go check out some properties with Nuno. We're gonna walk the streets and then be able to see kind of what's available in the Bonfim neighborhood and let him know exactly what we're looking for. So join me. That episode is gonna be right here, and if it's not here, then check out this episode, which was the last episode that we filmed, and that'll get you guys kind of caught up to speed if you aren't already. Now, let's get moving. Bye.